Put a little bit of the rub, nigga, I gotta be safe.
Let's get to the sports talk.
Clippers beat the Blazers. Kawhi Leonard had 27 and 13. Lou Williams off the bench had 26 points and 8 assists. So you played in the NBA a long time. You understand the NBA better than anyone I know. Why don't they just start Lou Williams?
This may sound crazy to a lot of people who don't have the experience that I do, because you'll get the same productivity from him if he plays 30 minutes as if he plays 40 minutes, because he's going to be just as aggressive with the basketball and do what he does. And he has great chemistry with Montrezl Harrell.
Yep.
You notice Doc Rivers also coached one Jamal Crawford, who won a few Six Man of the Years. To start the game, your primary ball handler, usually, you want that guy to be somebody that can get you 10 dimes if he's playing well and or 20 points, while not being a liability defensively. When you bring somebody in as a substitute, you can now pick and choose the matchup and the time that you put them in to maximize their opportunity to get going really fast. And it frees up minutes for you to play other guys like Shamet, who was knocking down shots in the game. Kawhi was terrific, as you mentioned in the
Cause he stayed big spark off the bench. You don't want to take that away from the bench. Like, he give you a lot of points when he get in. Then him, Montrezl Harrell, they coexist once they get in together. You don't want to take your sixth man and have him start. Like, yeah, he can start for any team, but he best coming off the bench, like, because what he could bring productivity off the bench. Like, you don't need him in the start. You know, he give you a lot of points off the bench. It help your team out and make your bench more stronger with him and Harrell coming off the bench together.
fourth quarter, Montrezl Harrell continues to give effort. He was one of those guys under the radar we talked about when he was in Houston. And it was a great pickup by the Clippers. Played well then, playing well now. So the Clippers now are becoming a well-oiled machine as Paul George starts back to practice on Saturday.
The Clippers are a well-oiled machine, but they need to sort of settle their communications with the NBA. What happened is they sat Kawhi Leonard against the Bucks, and they said it was because he was injured. But then Doc Rivers went on wax and said that he was not injured. So then the league fined the Clippers $50,000, and Kawhi Leonard, in a very strange shirt, was asked about it. Let's listen to Kawhi Leonard.
What do you make of the NBA finding Doc and the Clippers?
I mean, you know, for me, you know, I'm on his side. You know what I mean? I'm a Clipper. He's my coach, so they're just disappointing. You know, that it feels like they want, you know, players to play if they're not ready. But it is what it is. Like I said, I don't read into it. I got to do what's going to make me healthy, and, you know, it's just going to help the team be successful. And that's me, you know, being able to.
The league can't be selfish. This is a good thing for star players. You see what happened back then when players ain't sat down and rest their body and they try to play through their injuries. It shortened their career. It's smart to have low management. Not have them play on that knee. Make sure he's healthy for that playoff run. Don't have him try to play every game and you know his injured history. You don't want another star player have a short career because the league want him to play every game. It's called being smart and not risk yourself. You saving yourself from you. Load manager is a smart idea. That's the way people have longevity careers, not have short careers like players back then. You see what Gilbert Arenas said on the jump the other day. He wished he had that back then. He would have had a longer career. Richard Jefferson said that. Even though he played with the Cavaliers and won a championship, but he said that's why his career really went down a little bit. Even though he produced a little bit, but that's why he can't really do too much, because He played through the injuries and it hurt him in the long run. T-Mac trying to play through his injury. It's showing his career, even though he played with other teams. You can't get mad at a player if a coach had him on low management. He don't want to hurt his team by trying to force a star player to be out there if his body ain't right. Even though he's healthy, but you know his history. You're trying to just keep him from getting hurt again. That's why, like Thibodeau, with the Derrick Rose situation, that's why Derrick Rose back to 100% and playing at a high level this year for Detroit, but his career could have been shortened. That's why it took him a long time to get back to how he was, because he tried to play through injuries. That's why load management is a smart idea, to have players have long careers. Kawhi have a history of getting hurt, and Doc Rivers is not trying to risk that. He's trying to have him healthy. He don't want to hurt his team. He don't want to hurt Kawhi's career.
Play basketball games for us.
I gotta do what makes me healthy. Is Kawhi Leonard healthy?
Yes. One day when we get an opportunity, can we run back some clips of when the Spurs were sending Tim Duncan and Tony Parker home on Southwest Airline planes, and everybody was keying? Like, all they care about is winning championships. All that matters is who's standing in June. And I kept speaking in the microphones. As you continue to deteriorate the meaning of the regular season, players are going to do it as well. They're really intelligent. So here's what has happened. Gone are the days when the majority of the top players take pride in playing 82 games.
Gone.
Gone are those days.
Gone.
So now if you're the NBA, you're trying to market, you're trying to promote, and you're trying to sell tickets to a product that people now realize when they purchase a ticket, the marquee player might not be playing. So here's a couple of distinctions in wordplay that are going to now take place. In the Clippers statement and in the Lakers statement, you see the word injured.
Yep.
Or injury.
Yep.
That's a term that goes for a player that cannot play. Paul George is injured. Kawhi Leonard is low managing. But now that's going to be masked as recovery because he's had an injury at some point of his career.
Yep.
So now for a guy like Zion Williamson, for his entire career, they can say he's managing an injury that he's had at some point of his career. The term load management has become so taboo. It's gonna be the words that the NBA tried to.
It's all about not playing 82 games now. It's all about people want to have long careers. They don't want their career to be short. They want to play long as they can. They understand the fans want to see them play, but the fans also got to understand these players are human as well. You got to understand their body. They understand what the fans want, but they want to play long. They don't want to go risk their career by trying to play on an injured knee or an injured shoulder. They want to continue playing, not be hurt and be sitting out a long period of time. That's why the load management is a good thing for these players, so they don't have to worry about banging up their body, so they can play until their 30s. Not play till they only 29 and only 30, and then they retire because they didn't listen to their coaches and sit down and rest their body up.
Erase so very fast, almost like tanking, because they create a stigma that the fans will now gravitate to in a negative light.
And that's a really good point, because the optics of load management aren't good for the league, so there's going to be some discussions that will be not on wax that will say, let's not use the words load management, let's not use the word tanking, but we all know that is the best strategy to win a championship. And I'm glad you brought up Zion Williamson, because it is interesting. I don't think Zion Williamson will ever play 82 games in his career. Do you?
No.
I do not. And you and I joked on the podcast, make sure you download it wherever you download podcasts. If you're not listening to our podcast, I don't know what you're listening to.
Great plug.
And the joke that you came with is that Zion Williamson now is going to be basically playing once a week like an NFL player this year, as the New Orleans Pelicans will now be in the tanking business again, a la Philadelphia 76ers. I wouldn't be surprised if they traded Drew Holiday in the process. This has now become the new norm in the NBA. So terms that teams have used, like load management and rest, and when the Spurs used to put old by Tim Duncan, those jokes have now become something that the fans have realized they bought tickets to not to see the marquee players. So the league is smart enough to try to remove those words from the lexicon.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more